wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time.
Hello and welcome, listener, to another episode of Tactical Awareness. It's Season 2, Episode 6, Mailbag Madness. We're hanging out today talking about the slow grow Escalation League games, catching up on the news, and what each of us is doing. So let's see what's going on with Owen and Dan and get this underway.
Talk about all the pano I painted.
Did Japan was Pano?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I painted much of Pakistan, but that's why we started recording, because we're literally just doing the podcast without actually recording any of it. And hey, everybody. Welcome to another TAC-Aware that is just two people, because it's just me and Owen tonight. Dan is MIA. He might show up later. We don't know. Anything could happen. And we were just midway through a conversation what we're doing this week, and I realized that we weren't actually recording. So Owen's gonna have to listen to me talk about it all again. And we were arguing about what the highlights are for the army I'm starting, because I just finished painting 9 Hassassin Brahm miniatures, my first ever Hakaslan miniatures. And they ranged from the ancient, I painted a first edition Asawira and Delami, to the ultra modern, because I just painted Yara Haddad as well. So my first 9 models were my first 150 points for the Escalation League. And we were just talking about the Sunduqbuts, your favorite boy, because I'm trying to figure out if I should order a Blackwind or convert one out of a Cosmo from Aristea, because he'll kind of look like the Shakoosh then, and I'm kind of into that, and I'll have like a unique Sunduqbuts and not have to buy everything in that box, because that box is €54. And I don't know, do I need the other one? Do I need I feel like I should get the actual Operation Blackwind set instead, because I gave all that stuff to Jordan when we split the box set. Because what do I get in Operation and Beyond Black? When I get a Sunduqbuts, I get a Shujay. Do I care about the Hassassin Shujay?
No,
I don't think so.
you might, but also no.
And a Muyib Spitfire.
Yeah, he's great. Can't go wrong with Muyib.
No, Muyibs are great. You're right.
Muyibs are on that list of like, wow, this guy's awesome. Never brought a single one in my games.
Problem is, I already have half of this box painted, because I have the half from the. I split it already, right? So,
do you have the Spitfire one? Because he's TAC-Aware too. That's his jam.
I know.
He's TAC-Aware X visor.
Well, I gave the other half of this box already to Jordan. So,
I see what you're saying.
Right, so I have I'm literally buying this for 2 models then, because I don't think I want the Shujay either, but I do kind of want the Sunduqbuts. But I could also just convert the Sunduqbuts and make it. And
Shujay is a cool model.
Yeah, Shujay is a cool model. I don't know. Do I need a Sunduqbuts? Because we were just talking about how the Operation Blackwind and the Beyond Blackwind kind of like lean into all of the janky stuff that Assassins do now, and you were making the argument that the Sunduqbuts is the premier
ARO piece.
Yeah.
And that I recognize that it's all he does. Like you give up your active turn. But like when you consider that the intruder, or not the intruder, the Sin Eater, who's like 34 points and has that sniper and MSV, like I think a Sunduqbuts beats the shit out of an intruder.
Yeah, I mean, he beats the shit out of everybody because he effectively has a viral Spitfire. Right?
Yeah,
like he's +1 damage, +1 burst for the final rifle. Obviously, he doesn't have the Spitfire ranges, but because you can just corner watch with him in that range of 16, he fights in his optimum range at all time, and he also doesn't have a 0 range up close. So if you get within 8 of him, he still brawls.
4 dice on 7s is not bad,
especially when if one of them lands, you're basically dead. Like
that's the thing. It's like
damage 14 against BTS. Like even tags are scared of that, because their BTS is never that high unless they're called a YOLO.
And it's also 2 dice rolls every time.
That's what I mean, right? Like it's lower stat and 2 dice rolls.
Yeah, the fact that like, because like you think like, okay, it doesn't have the long range, but even if they don't have a marker state like a camo or something, like some kind of mimetism, you're hitting on 7s up to like 32.
Yeah, it's the fact he's 40. He's a 6th of your army, and he might be the last guy standing that then has to go and like clear his zone so someone can push a button. I'm always thinking about it. I'm always thinking about like
he's never the last guy standing because you're covered in like camo and cheap guys who are
I
around.
know, you're right. Yeah, I know. You got Fidesz and
like you could have a Fide just sit there and never do anything the entire game and go, okay, time for me to go finish the job.
Yeah, I want that half of the Black Wind box now. I want that the Bucktar, because I also really want the Bucktar. I want to make all the pieces that you didn't like work this season. Like that's really where I think my brain is, that I'm just being contrarian. Like, because I agree with you about everything you say about the army, but I also want you to be wrong about these other pieces, and I want to make them work.
And the thing is, I'm actually not. I don't think that they won't work. It's just there's a part of me that goes like, I think the way I'm doing it is more optimized.
That's it. You can't not take the best. Yeah.
And like
you glitch out.
You could go a different style, and like I had an alt list that didn't play up all of the jank. It did it its own way, where it was like double Asawira link teams. Yeah. That's pretty good regardless.
I remember helping you write that list. Imagine you just show up to Golden and Carbonite this year with your list from last year.
It'd be great if you just brought the same two lists. just like, let's see if it works again.
See what happens.
Yeah.
And you're playing double Yodam, double
round two.
That's right. Let them.
How do you win B-Pong? 2 Yodams. Fuck off.
Just show up like a fucking like liquid leukemia just rolling into the event. Yeah, I don't know. I like the Bucktar though. Like he's so cool because he's basically something with parachutist and then visor and mim. And he dodges on 16s. Oh my god, dodging on 16s is amazing. Yeah.
Yes, but then someone shoots him on their turn and he dies.
No, because he just suppresses with his Mimetism and cover. And his mouse V1.
Spending orders to not do anything. Right? Like that's how it is for me.
Option to switch then. You have the option to move around. Also, no matter how cool your doctors are, they can't help poor Sunday. They have to bring a shitty engineer to help him. He's got no comeback to lives.
You gotta whip 14 engineer for 15 points.
I mean,
he gizmo kits on 14s.
I get it. You have a fixed thing. I know he's good. We all know he's good. You gotta
do 4 wounds to kill him.
Yeah, I know. It's Shakush o'clock then. Just lean into the Shakush instead. Make Shakush great. Make him happy.
Yeah, there you go. The Shakush is
really contrarian.
Marginally better than a Sunduqbut.
You're only 2 points more than a Bucktar.
I actually think the Shakush is worse than the active turn Sunduqbut.
I think you're technically correct. I think he hits a bit harder.
The 51 point AP Spitfire
yeah,
is very close. He just doesn't have he does have the +1 damage. They hit the same damage. The Shakush gets 1 extra BS compared to the Sunduqbut.
It's 15 with the Spitfire as opposed to 14 for the power rifle.
But the Sunduqbut has a Spitfire that it can bring as well. Like if you brought the AP Spitfire Sunduqbut,
I thought you were going to the active one with the same stats.
Yeah, well, you bring the AP Spitfire shotgun because that's the equivalent of an AP Spitfire flamethrower. They both have +1 to BS attack, but the other one gets forward deploy 8, camouflage, decoy, and surprise attack, and remote presence. And it's like 2 less armor. Is that enough to justify?
I don't know. Anyway, I haven't even played a game yet. So
yeah, fair enough.
This week. My 2 lists that I painted for this week for tomorrow night when I'm playing Jordan is I have a 100-point list for the first, which is Annihilation. That's the first mission that we play. And I have in that list a Govad Killer Hacker duoed with a Sweet Asawira, because of course I do.
Right.
AP rifle, because of course I do, because it's an Asawira, and they're friggin' amazing. I thought about making the Asawira the lieutenant. I could do that. I might as well. I got a couple ghoulies in there. We got the NCO ghoulie with the grenade launcher, everybody's favorite. I was also thinking about taking the lieutenant +1 command token, because you can do that thing now where you trade for the command token, but the Asawira lieutenant felt more useful late game. And that way I can have a Gulam Doctor as one of my second ones. And then the last of my few points is I have a pre-order in the form of where's that remote? What is it called? You only ever get one of these things, so I just painted one right away. The Fanus, because I want to have a 7-point order. I can always have. Oh, yeah. And then I took a Gazi because I wanted to have smoke. And that's the 100-point list. And then the 150-point list, because we're going to try and get 2 games in tomorrow night, I end up switching out the Lieutenant Asawira to be a Dr. Asawira, because everyone likes having a doctor. And then I got Yara Haddad, because Yara Haddad's amazing and gives me an MSV piece to go with that mutt, because you want the smoke MSV if you can. And then she can join with the 2 Gulams and a Gulam Hawker to make a 4-man fire team, which gives me a little bit of hitting stuff. Or you could swap in the Asawira in there if I want to. I'm not sure if I want to do that, because we're playing Battlegrounds for our second mission.
Right.
And I think she's 25. It's a couple more points to make the Asawira Doctor.
Oh, you're not bringing her with the strategic deployment?
I am, yeah.
Oh, she's 28 then.
Oh, she's 28. Sorry, yeah, that's right. I think it's the mutts. The mutts are what I think I actually get a second mutt is what I did. I'm trying to figure out. I can't remember what exactly I changed.
Emarat.
Well, that's it. I think I took the chain rifle, Emarat, and the smoke grenade, boarding shotgun jammer. Or no, the chain rifle, smoke grenades. And then Asper Doctor, Gulam Doctor, and then I have a Gulam Hacker in there now too. And then it's what's her face? Where is she? Yara Haddad.
Medium infantry.
Is she medium infantry?
Yep.
My stuff's gotten unsorted again. What's the buttons I push again to make this his options?
Then go like unit sorting.
Yeah, I don't remember how to do it.
And then you go type, unit name, publishing order, classification, ISC.
All right.
Click and drag goes around.
Options. Got language. It's vertical. What? It's not showing me that thing where I sort everything.
Click the drop down arrow. There's a little black arrow.
Oh, there it is. Unit sorting. And then it's publishing order.
Now you go type.
Yep.
First, then unit name, then publishing order. Then it doesn't really matter after that.
Classification, I see. There we go. Okay, now it's actually doing it again. I don't know how
Dan says he's here. Are you getting prompted to join?
Yeah. My browser got reset. Oh, Dan's here. Sweet. Dan is now here. I have let him in to the room. It's Yara Haddad, medium infantry, street deployment, and lieutenant.
She's cool.
I
like Arm 3 with bioimmunity.
Right? Everybody likes that.
I'm alive.
Hey, it's a Dan. A whole day of Dan.
I still think she's too expensive, but strategic deployment's worth it.
I think so too.
Who are we talking about? Yara?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only person I know with are there more people with strategic deployment?
Not that I can think of.
I can't think of any either. I know there used to be. I can't think of any off the top of my head right now. There definitely used to be more. God, I love the Gulam NCO. It's such a great profile. For having NCO and a smoke grenade launcher and a grenade launcher, like it just does both. It's so great.
It's so frustrating when you're playing like a faction that doesn't have really much NCO at all, and you're like, you get that? What the?
Yeah, and I love my Asawira Doctor. He is fantastic. So that's the 150 points. And then I think I'm going to add, but for 200 points, I think I add in like Fide. Like I start putting in like the kind of classic stuff. At that point, I get the Fide, the TR bot after that. And that takes me to like 10 models. Oh, and Daylami. There's a Daylami in there too. Because you gotta have Mr. Daylami to throw out some Panzerfausts. So that's it. That's what I'm working on, trying to get some games in. And the other big exciting piece of news is Torchlight got in operations decks. So I ordered all the ones that they had. I just started all 4.
Just all of
I just cleaned them out. Yeah. Well, because like we keep going through this thing where like people can't find them. So I just want to have a stash while they can hopefully reorder them from the distributor, so that when we're eventually out of them, I have them for people, or I can bring them to events and have like loaners and stuff like that, and just grab all the ones I need. So I got that, and I got some more bases because I'm already out of like the first batch of assassins. Basically, clean me out of all of those Psyocast bases, the basing pack alpha. So I got the gamma basing pack to go with it, and that way I can start basing up the rest of the stuff when it comes in. I think I was short 1 base. I didn't have a base for my Fide, but he's on that big like chunk of tactical stuff anyway, so it looks fine. It doesn't even look like I'm missing a base. And that's what I did this week. What about you guys?
I'm painting Pano models. I don't even know what they are. One of them is a Nisus. The rest are sniper characters. I don't know. I don't know, actually. I don't even know how I got these. I just found them. I was moving and I unpacked a bunch of boxes and I found a bunch of models.
With the random Pano?
Yeah. I know, like, these two are Fusiliers.
Okay.
These are remotes. This is a Squallow. This is a Seraph. That's the doctor one, the new doctor. The Infirmer.
Where?
The guy with the big cape billowing behind him and a Spitfire is a Nisus. And then there's one guy who's got his rear leg up on like a tactical rock holding what looks to be a multi-rifle. And then there's a girl who's leaning forward wearing like a jacket with a sniper. And I'm sure that they're Pano models, but I don't know what they are.
Probably the new Winter 4 guys.
One of them is probably the Winter 4 because he's got a little bit of that extra jackety goodness. The other girl, I'm not as sure.
Well, they're appropriate for this season because Svartalhamma's been destroyed. There's all kinds of ground fighting happening in Svartalhamma. With what's going on currently in the news. As far as
I don't have the Svartalhammer models, so I'm not sure how I got it. Because like I don't have anything that would come in a starter set.
I probably picked it up in the random lots of models that you buy from people. Where you're like, here's a Infinity models, and you're like, hey, you're speaking my language because there's nothing Owen likes more than a dumpster dive.
I didn't realize that Svartalheim had double hairs, for the record.
They sure do,
which is surprising.
They're kind of like, I think they're a bit of a sleeper faction. Like, I think you could get some work done with them. They have some interesting, because they have so much like weird, like small link team stuff with Nisus and what are they called? The
the Karu team is the meat potato team. But they can't be a core. So you don't get all your stats. It's crazy to me that there's nothing that can duo with Yodems in this faction. Because every other sub-faction gets their like identifiable tag, and they all get to duo with something. Sure. And they're the only one that doesn't. I guess the camo tags don't either, but
yeah. They're also the only thing that is as big as they are. So maybe they just don't think they need help. Could be what it is.
I suppose. I want a Squallow Mark II, but it sold immediately at the shop nearby.
Really? They're still for pre-order here. I don't think we have them in Ontario yet. I didn't see them for sale. I'm going to grab one this week.
Or maybe that one hasn't come in. It was just all the starters, like the reinforcement boxes.
I'm sure that one still. We're waiting on that one still.
Got it.
Yeah, I think the Squallow March is not in yet. So just bide your time.
Then I want to
grab one.
Then I'll play NCA and duo Squallow 2 with Squallow 1.
Mm-hmm. That was my plan. I was going to put together my NCA and have like a double trouble list with that guy. I'm excited for the.
Do you go Squallow Mark II NCO and Squallow Mark 1 Lieutenant? you have the boss Squallow and his assistant Mini Me.
They could get a lot of orders.
Complete each other.
Yeah, that's 5 orders in one
cheaper
duo.
Than double Squallow though, because the Squallow Mark II is not as expensive. Just kind of I don't know. I think there's something there. I like the
not the NCO one. The NCO one's like 71 points. I don't think there's a reason to bring him unless you're bringing. Actually, I don't think there's a reason to bring him unless you're not going to bring any other shooting piece in Pano, which is
No, the multi-marksman rifle one's 57.
100%. Yeah, but he's not the NCO, which is what I was talking about, the joke with the NCO guy.
Can't you take a regular squall NCO?
Yeah, you can.
Right? Like, I'm just saying to get the same efficiency. Like, take the
But then you have to bring a different lieutenant in Pano. And let's be honest. Are there any good lieutenants in Pano?
I'm sure there's lots of lieutenant options. You can get
Other than Joan, who's the best lieutenant in Pano?
You get Uma, she's up 13.
Maximus.
You just take Maximus and have him lead all the armies. You go triple tag.
207 points for Squalo Mark II Maximus.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's other models in Neoterra.
I mean, you take a Fusilier and then you roll Whip 12 to start the game.
That's it. And then just make, when the Fusilier dies, just make the Squall Mark II the lieutenant. Be like, now I'm in charge.
He's not a remote.
No, you don't know. You can make the tag. Yeah, 100%. You can give it the tag. Why not? You can even give it to the NCO, and then he could just use his own lieutenant order with the NCO skill to walk around. Be like, up I go. Right? I like my Neoterra army. I should paint my new bolts. I have a bunch of new bolts that could go with my old bolts.
I was going to buy that reinforcements box that has the like reinforcement bolts in it, because I never bought bolts because I didn't really.
I don't have the special bolts for my bolts paint. I only have the original bolt, like rifles. I think I had the Spitfire painted. That was it, and the Hacker. I didn't paint the sniper rifle, which is what I needed to paint.
But that classic Neoterra bolt gang is
so good
for realsies.
Yeah, you had to play against that a whole bunch. Back when they had bioimmunity. That was my jam, was those guys.
Yeah. I mean, there's a guy here who played it. I played against his bolts like 2 or 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
But it became like, haha, McMurrow.
Yeah, it's true.
I can see through your smoke. I don't care.
Cover, so neat.
I shoot my chain rifles at everyone.
That's right. Yeah. Hey. They're great up until the freaking werewolf comes flying across the wall and attacks them. So what are you doing? What are you doing?
Me? I just painted like 15 stone trolls for Age of Sigmar, and then I took 3D prints of river trolls. Wait, how many I have? 12. So I'm just kind of, these things have been like on my painting deck for like forever, and they take up a lot of space. And then finally, I'm just like, I'm motivated to paint them, so I'm going to paint. And then eventually, I'll get back and paint some of my ISS.
The ISS they look fantastic, and I'm excited to like see you actually like play with them and see what you think, because they're such an old school faction.
It's funny how like everyone's so demotivated. They're like, "Oh yeah, that was my first faction." They're not very good. I'm like, I played them. Everyone said about 012, and I was like doing fine with them too. So I don't know.
I think they're fine. I think the problem is that people look at everyone else's new shiny toys and think that the older toys aren't as cool anymore. But the Sujan's still friggin' amazing. The Rishi Linked is still amazing. Cheap orders from all the exploding political dissidents is still amazing. I think they're still a great list.
Yeah, I have a list that I think has some legs, but I gotta actually put on the board. It's interesting how you think that after playing Infinity for a while, like we're coming up on a year now.
We are coming up very close to a year. Actually, in November it'll be a year. We're kind of on to a year's worth of episodes. Actually, we are on episode. I think we count the total episodes. We're on episode 38, which means if we're going weekly, we're like, I don't know, a month and a half, 2 months against getting on the 52.
Yeah, but like, it's like I had to take the same journey I had to with 012 of like, let's try this. That didn't work. Let's try this. Oh, there's a big gap there. And of course, Owen's the guy that always punish it.
Yes, he will.
But not just Owen, the other players too. And so it's been like a little journey of like I've only had like probably a handful of games. I need to get playing some more, but it's kind of like, okay, so that is bad because of that, or that is bad in that situation. If I bring that, there's a gap here that I need to fill, and all those little things. I'm like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so, no, it's good. Infinity's a great game. I like it.
Did you grab all the neat stuff? Like, did you grab like Dakinis and Divas and Tao Wu and stuff like that so you can make the weird links?
Yeah. I bought Tao Wu way back when I was collecting Druze.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought a Dakini box, which you get your 3 Dakinis in a Deva.
Yeah. Good.
Which is good because then I can experiment a lot with more O12 stuff. I'm not sure if they're great. I probably won't bring them in O12, but you never know.
Well, they're definitely cool for if you're doing Harris's, and because you get double Harris in Imperial Service, right?
Yeah. I have a cheap
Double
Dakini,
Harris in the core,
which
Hazel Harris for you.
Yeah, I mean, just being able to have like my Dakini link as well. Let me bring up this list.
It's crazy to me how often Dan and I, or collectively, will talk about Eugene and how I retain nothing every time we have these talks. Every time it's like, what does it do again? How does any of this work? What do you call it? You have the cat and the Xian, right? What else is in that faction? Oh, there's a remote that has MSV.
It's a weird faction for fire teams, though, because it has like these weird mixes of like Aleph fire teams and then Aleph stuff out of fire teams.
Whoa,
and then,
look
like,
at all my wacky stuff.
Dude, the Law and Order fire team is so weird because it's like all the bounty hunters and CSUs, and then a Shen can also be in there. So you can have like the MSV heavy infantry guy and a Harris backed up by like 2 bounty hunters. Like there's all kinds of weird.
That's what I did. Well, my last game against that, when I tried the two Xians with a bounty hunter and a CSU each.
That's what I was gonna say, right? And like that's
super cheap.
You have the models for all that, and it's so cheap to get a burst 5 Shen, which is bananas. HMG Shen, or even like the multi-marksman rifle one.
Okay.
I'm about to shoot.
He died to the plasma sniper.
Yeah, marksman plasma sniper.
It's okay. He's over 4. Oh, but he doesn't ever get covered.
Just smoke it next time. You need to bring things with smoke.
I did bring smoke, but I got too coffee.
Doesn't matter because the dumb remote has 6 cents.
Well, I know you just don't shoot. I'm just saying to get around it. Like, go send something else. Like, send a motorized bounty hunter duos to go.
Oh, they were all dead by that point.
I was just gonna say because you can duo motorized bounty hunters with the Sujans, which I think is also really funny.
Which he did do, and that was where the Cascuda went.
Amazing.
Should have gone first.
Wow.
Anyways, yeah, so I have a link of like, so I got my main group with like the Quangxi, whatever, blah blah blah. But then my and a Garuda in there because I feel like you need a drop troop, and Garuda's pretty cool. But I just have a Dakini multi sniper to kind of be like, hey, I'm hanging out, looking at the board, and I got an Evo hacker. So like, effective yes 14. That's good. But also, I have a Dakini paramedic, just because Whip 13 moves 6-4. You know, he'll just hide on the rooftop, being part of the cheap thing, part of the fire team, and then he can wake up later in the game and go push a button.
Yeah, he's fantastic. The Dakini, like even with all the high fizz heavy infantry and stuff, too, just having him as like a sleeper link to shoot my kids at guys can be really good.
Yeah, because I don't think he has anything to actually medic. But it's just kind of like a cheap specialist.
Yeah.
For like 15 points, you're a 6-4 movement with 13.
6-4 with mimetism too.
And mimetism, yeah. So that's cool. And then I just have my Celestial Guard Lieutenant hanging out just on a rooftop with the sniper. Just being like, please don't come kill me.
I think you're going to really like ISS because they have such weird fire teams and such weird list building.
I haven't been really playing. I've been trying to like play more remotes and it just hasn't been working. We've talked about this before.
Yeah,
but, I'm really embracing the double
first instinct. Your first instinct for bullshit didn't play out, and you're like,
nope, it rarely does. I don't understand these people who are like, they look at all the rules and go, yeah, this is the list I want to do.
This is the best way.
And I'm like, I gotta play the crap out of all the models.
I mean, that's how you get off meta sleeper lists that people don't think should work, and then go and win whole events because no one's ready for it. You chase the meta, and then you end up just doing the same thing as everybody else, and it just comes down to who's luckier, who goes first. Whereas if you take risks and do weird lists, people aren't.
There's nothing that annoys me more of when I'm playing against someone who's like a good knowledge of the game, and they look at your list and they go, okay. They're just like, okay, I played against this before. Like, I know the list. And you're like, It's just like, ugh. I hate that feeling
Why?
of being the person that will, like, because it's like I want to be able to give my opponent something to like figure out, and when they've already figured it out, kind of thing.
Oh, I see.
It's disappointing when you realize that what you thought of too is something people have already thought of. Like
There's nothing more sad.
You feel like you own it. Yeah.
When you see like a Magic tournament and the exact same deck is playing against each other in the finals, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, or 40K where everyone's playing the same army at the top table.
Yeah, that. Or even War Machine to be like the same lists. Insane, like one or two little variations. But like, yeah, there just seems to be, again, I like bringing stuff that a lot of people don't typically like.
I think there's
It gives me more leeway to be able to play into my strengths or counterplay things.
Me too, buddy. Me too.
I also you take things that are like that.
I like going down the list and maxing out AVAs one unit at a time until I find one that's stupid enough to work. You can't bring 4 Lu Jings. They're bad. All right, do it. Until I see somebody play it, I don't believe you. Dan, do it. It'll work. They won't see it coming.
Army yet.
They won't see it coming.
I'll tell them all it's coming, and then
You can tell them, and it won't make any difference. They're going to be like, "What is that?" And you're like, "It's a drop troop," and they're going to go, Anyway, go take the objective.
Go get them, boys. Put your skates on, Gordy. You're going in.
No, I have Adel. Adel? Adel?
Adel?
Adam.
Or whatever she's chain of commander, specialist operative veteran.
Right.
So I got her as the 5th member, or him, I don't know what it is. I got the model somewhere. 5th member of a Guangxi link. And so you still get the +1. So then that pushes her to BS14. And with a breaker combi rifle.
It's true.
So I don't know. We're going to try it out. Because she's got sensor. And so like any kind of, and she's got dodge +3. So she's Fizz 14 dodging. So be able to dodge to a corner of something and discover shoot. She'll be discovering on 19s. And so it's like, I just having issues with camo recently. So I'm like, I want something that can just like,
you just see it.
And then with a breaker combi rifle. And then she's got the triangulated fire. And so if there's like a weird mimetism sniper somewhere, it's like, I might throw it out.
He's a great piece.
I wish triangulated fire was a more valuable skill.
It used to be.
Like the number of games that you see it pop in are like really rare. Like it's not like it never happens. It's just like I can count on one hand the amount of times a triangulated fire was done not as just like a meme.
Effectively, yeah.
Like I have nothing else to do, and if he moves, he's going to die. So I guess I triangulate fire. You know, like okay, sure.
There's a couple heavy infantry pieces like the Crane that can do it, where you're like, if he's already stand up fighting somebody at like crazy mods, you know what I mean? He can do it, and it can often pay off. But as like just like the sensor bot having it, there's not a ton of. I feel like there's not a ton of value because he's probably just going to be dead against the thing that he would want to use it against anyway already.
Yeah, I think with the combi rifle thing is kind of like it's definitely a backup rule of like you have your long range pieces. I got a Hissien Cien heavy machine gun and the multi sniper, and so it's like I have things that fight long range, and so then but it's like that weird late game where there's like someone across the board and you're like you can barely see them and all you have is a combi rifle and you're like -6 plus you're recovered -9. You're like just roll some dice, hopefully you get lucky. You can instead triangulate fire and then maybe pick off somebody. I don't know. It's an idea. I've never used it, but maybe. I recently went down throughout the list of every single weapon in the game. and try to organize every weapon into their respective range bands that share range bands.
Right.
And I'm just astounded at how big of the +3 range is on a sniper rifle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you get lower burst, but damn.
Mhm.
Like, it's like nothing even comes close to having as good range
Shoot
as
the
that.
board, basically. It's just not good inside 16.
Right. But like HMGs
it used to be worse in N3 because in N3 it didn't get to +3 until 24, like the missile launcher does. And so it was easy to like get inside of its like bad window. They weren't quite as useful in N3, but in N4 they're fantastic because they're just like 16 to the end of the world.
Yeah. You can't really outrange the sniper.
Yeah.
So you gotta get close.
Yeah,
So those,
16.
Yeah.
Send the Cascuda.
I mean, you could also just try to like overwhelm it with dice. You get like, I got 5 versus your 2, and hope for the best.
Well, I think with that, it's time to hit the mailbag. We did get some new mail, which is great. We have enough for an evening's discussion, but please go and obviously add some new stuff when we post the link, and link will be in the description for all the podcast episodes and also in our Tactical Awareness channel on Discord. So let's dive in and see what we got for this week. The first is from Eralinus. It's for everybody. It says, what unique terrain settings would you like to see? Bonus points for faction theme boards. Things like the Spice Train on Burak come to mind. I've been thinking about that lately, actually, because I actually really like the concept of the QAZ creatures. Like, I like the concept of having like active terrain, if that makes sense. Like automated defense systems on buildings or laser gates or things where you have like not moving walls, but you know what I mean? Like where there's like, it feels like the table's a little bit more alive than it is. The tables always feel kind of abandoned in Infinity. And I
the fact that there's no deployable camera for line of fire is weird to me in Infinity.
Yeah.
Like, that there's no mission
like
of a hack the cameras to turn them off.
Oh my god, that'd be so cool if you like placed cameras and you could like hack them to act like a sensor or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, man.
They function as repeaters and you gain line of sight through them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so all of a sudden it's like, oh, I got to turn that off. And you make it so that they're like pointlessly durable, but very vulnerable to hacking.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if
you can shoot it,
but I like the idea of being like the old sniffer rules. You know what I mean? Where like you can't necessarily hack through them, but you can see through them somehow. I love that idea.
But what would line of sight give you?
That's why I was like a little bit.
It would give you so line of sight would give you dodges for one thing, meaning you could react without a penalty because you could see them.
That's true.
And then it would also prevent things like going back into camo states. It would prevent things like. It's not necessarily what it would do for you. It prevents a ton. Being in line of sight of people, like, allow for a ton of like movement reactions every time something activates in line of sight of the camera, and also prevents a huge number of like skills from being.
Say goodbye to your Hollow Echo list.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you wouldn't automatically regain your Hollow Echoes. You wouldn't be able to go back into a camo state anywhere near where it could see you.
Even like cautious movement.
You can make discover checks through it. That's what I would have them do. Allow you to make discover checks through them.
Ooh.
Right? That could be awesome.
Yeah, and then do another one for like a movable door or something.
Exactly.
Like that.
Yeah, like security systems engaging, where it's not necessarily hostile, but like it makes things like order intensive, or it like creates stuff like that on the board. I think more stuff like that where the terrain feels a bit more alive. Like it's supposed to be like a hyper security state. You know what I mean? Like you're supposed to be in like the future where it's Star Trek doors and stuff like that. Like I would love to see things that like not move, but like, you know how like in Mario there's like lifting platforms, like things that go up. I would love to see terrain that does that, like it just changes position, where like there's like lifting elevators and things like that. I think that would be cool. Things you can interact with to like raise or lower a bridge, you know, that kind of an idea.
You can go up an elevator, but then the elevator's up and you can't go up again until it goes
down.
Or
like just big like lifting platform, you know what I mean? Like the kind of like loading dock platforms that like it would like raise basically part of the battlefield up. That kind of stuff would be awesome.
Or like oftentimes when you have like the armory in the middle, or like for whatever mission that you require the big 8-inch block in the middle, if you had like a button or two, like make it even kind of on both sides, where if you like push the button, like two of the doors closed and the other two open. And so it's like a lengthwise or widthwise kind of entry and movement, but also will change line of sight.
Well, even like a tram system moving through. You know what I mean? Like tram cars arrive and you have to like they basically move during the game and they can run you over. Like I would love to see stuff like that. Just to make
throw some dudes on top of it and they're like, send it.
Yeah, man. There was a mission in N2 that was basically like a train extraction where that happened, where like the train moved around you and you were on the train. And it was like a big train fight. There's a train piece actually, I think, from maybe it was micro art. But it was a very cool mission. That kind of stuff. That's what I would like to do. I just like to have the table feel more alive. It would be cool as like a Battlefield effects deck kind of thing where like they add to these operations decks to have a thing like that, a theme deck where it's like Nomad Starship deck, or it's, you know, City Streets deck or engineering deck, and just have like cool train pieces or cool another pack, kind of like the ITS mission pack, where there's like little interactable things like cameras, like Owen said. A bit like the Batman terrain. Did you ever play Batman, Dan?
No.
So in Batman, one of the things that you would always place at the start of each game is you place manhole covers and you place lampposts. And the idea is in Batman, it was always nighttime, so range was always 12 inches. Or if something's standing in the light, you can always draw line of sight to it. So you would like strategically, each of you would strategically deploy like lampposts so that you could like kind of have areas that there'd be line of sight to. And then the manhole covers you could kind of teleport through. So you could like long skill go into the sewers and then pop up from another manhole cover.
That's fun.
Yeah, just little things like that, like baked into the game, I think would be neat. All right, next one's from Colonel Spawns. That's for all of us. It says, I run a Tunguskan crime syndicate, I mean legitimate business operation, but I have a problem with dogs turning up at my crime scenes, I mean legitimate business endeavors. I'm thinking of hiring Father Lucian Sforza as a dog warden, since he has a bow rifle, nothing to do with wanting an excuse to get the new model. One of his options is Holomask plus Holoprojector. What's the best way to use this combo? So the thing with Holomask plus Holoprojector is they basically give you away right away. I think the Holoprojector is optional, though, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
So you could start Holomask and then later on choose to activate the Holoprojector after you revealed yourself. I think is the thing there. Let me just pull up Sforza. I'm pretty sure that's the way that works.
With Holoprojector, the problem is you kind of have to actually fool your opponent. You need the models of something that you would take 3 of in your list.
No, because you can just choose not to use it.
No, but I mean, when you deploy, you can make it a shell game.
Sure, but you can also just make it a shell game later to like clear mines and stuff like that. I think I would probably not use, is what I'm saying, is not use.
I think it's a very useful deployment skill.
Okay, defend that statement.
Well, it's like you can put things like standing up, just looking at things. And then when they walk, they're like, do I shoot it? Do I not? It's probably a holoprojector, but it might not be.
Right, he's talking specifically to fight dogs, though.
Right, but that means he needs to not get murdered by those dogs.
Sure.
So, like, what do you pretend Sforza is that exists within Tunguska that a dog won't go to kill?
Right.
Because, like, that's the question. And I think if you're going to do Holo, like, the fact that he has Holo Echo, you're not using it because, like, oh, you're trying to fool them into, like, running into what they think is a group of guys. It's, I'm trying not to have Sforza die instantly because the dogs know that he's the guy to kill.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if Sforza pretends to be, like, I don't know, 3 Securitate with Fearbox mixed into a link of Securitate, or at least nearby one that also have Fearbox, and it's like, okay, just go away. Like, don't come after me. Oh, he's going to come after me to clear up my back line. That's okay. These guys are, like, it's a confused mess of who's the real ones or not. And then he's, like, the very far left one off the corner. That's my thinking.
Yeah, mine is more, if you're taking him to fight dogs, you don't even bother with the Holomask. Unless, and here's a question.
You mean Holo Echo?
He said Holo Echo. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. And well, he said, how do you use the combination of those two things? My thought was starting the Holomask as something innocuous and then reveal yourself and go dog hunting. Use something else as the bait. Don't use the guy who's the stick to have the dogs run into, you save him for your active turn and then go kill the dogs after they've done what they're going to do.
I agree. But then
if you're going first, then just have him be innocuous and then have him walk towards the dogs.
Right, but my thing is like, what in Tunguska is innocuous that a dog wouldn't come after?
Right. And I would say
that is size 2.
Interventor or anything like that. Like,
because interventors are hacking device plus or lieutenants. So I would send my dog against an interventor because he's immune to everything they do.
Dog against, sure, okay. So
then, this is the case I'm making is like, if he's got to watch out for those dogs, you want him to hide.
Securitate, like
yeah, there you go. Okay, so we're on the same page. And then why not just be 3 Securitates?
Because that might give you away if you have a full order count.
But then the problem is that,
I mean, it'll give away that some of the Securitates that you have are fake.
My point is, okay, sure. So my point is that you get the surprise attack out of Hollow Mask or Hollow Echo. So why bother giving away that there's 3 of something somewhere? They're all within 8 of each other when you could just be one innocuous thing.
They only have to be within 8 of one other one, not both.
Sure.
They can be 16 inches apart, which is huge. For the record, just clarifying.
Well, they have to be within 8 of. They can't. They have to be within 8 of the one that you've called out as being the one.
That's not true.
Mark that. Yeah, you do.
Unless it's changed, but that was never the case before.
You're both right. So the person in the middle is the real one, and way up to the right, inches to the right.
That gives away who's the real one. They could be 16 apart, but they have to be in coherency of the real one, which is why you can never have them that far apart.
You can, but it just if they sniff it out, that's the 3 of the same. That shouldn't be the 3 of the same, and they know the middle one's the real one because there's no other legal deployment.
Mm-hmm. I have a question about Hollow Mask because I'm looking at the skill right now.
No, shut the fuck up. You guys are both wrong. Each Hollow Echo must be in coherency with another Echo, regardless of who the real bearer is.
Oh, there you go.
Go away. I know how this works. I've played an entire list of nothing but this. You can do it where you have the real guy is 16 inches away from the other Echo, and they're just a line across your back line.
Oh, that makes it way better.
They're so obnoxious to deal with. And the only requirement is
that your problem with your remotes too, Dan.
Yeah. Now the challenge is if he kills the middle one, the far one goes away.
Yeah, immediately just disappears.
I'm not sure if it's immediate, but as soon as that guy.
No, it's canceled because they can't make the perimeter check anymore.
The issue is when do you have to do that, right? So like coherency is only checked.
Cancellations cancellations is whenever the cancellation happens. So if one of the cancellations is no longer in perimeter of a
the cancellation is only when activating as an ARO or order.
So if you don't ARO,
you can continue to have 2.
Hollow Protector Bearer breaks coherency with the other Hollow Echoes. So if they break coherency, then it's canceled. The whole state's canceled.
Where are we reading?
I'm reading the final bullet point of cancellation. The Hollow Protector Bearer breaks coherency with the other Hollow Echoes. So if there's no coherency to the bearer of the real one with the other.
What if they pretend to be cheer killers?
There you go. You could do
that.
They
have MSV, which dogs do not like.
Yep.
Because they get free shots on the way in with a shock marksman rifle.
Sure. You might avoid it, yeah.
And it's not unlikely that you take 3 cheer killers, right?
So my next question, sorry, I did have a question before. There's no cancel. So if you declare an order that is an entire order, you cancel Hollow Mask. But if you are put on suppression in the strategic phase at the start of the turn, are you declaring that order or are you gaining a state?
You declare the order, which is to do suppression.
No,
suppression.
You're not being given an order.
What?
Right? So you are not performing a skill. You are gaining the state of suppression. Do you understand the difference?
Suppressive fire is a skill, is an order.
It's a state, though, and you're not being given the order because
this is when you use a command token at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I see. You're saying
That's what I'm saying. Like, because you're gaining the state from exactly. You're gaining the state for a command token use. Does it cancel Hollow Mask? I don't think it does.
What states can you be in while also in Hollow Mask?
It doesn't. but that's irrelevant. It doesn't say that the cancellation is by changing state. There's no like call it for it. It's just not part. It's the only thing that cancels the call mouse is anything that's under the cancellation tabs. That's why I'm looking at it. So I think it doesn't. Cancellation is if he declares an attack. So like the suppression would, when you make the attack, you would lose it, if that makes sense. But
in a row, yeah.
But you could be looking innocuous on suppression, but actually be Sforces. That's the thing I'm saying.
Which is
right?
a rude awakening.
Which is a very rude awakening. Yeah. Exactly, right? So like you're Securitate suppressing, the dog's like, go for it, and runs in, and then all of a sudden you're fucking Sforza. that's where I was like thinking about it. Because the only cancellations are you make a saving roll, something enter silhouette contact, you declare an entire order other than cautious movement, or you declare an attack. And then if you ever become impetuous, to frenzy or whatever. Yeah. And I just want to look at command tokens again, strategic command token use.
It says you enter the state. It doesn't say you spend an order.
That's right. Okay, then it doesn't. Yeah, because you aren't performing a skill.
Wait, can you do it on an echo? Can you put an echo in suppression?
Don't see why you would. Because no, you can't. I don't think because executive use.
One trooper can activate.
Because they're not true. Oh no, they're considered troopers. Can activate the suppressive fire state along with their peripherals if they are controller following activation rules for the state. Yeah, I guess. That's a strange corner case. Yeah, let people fight.
There you go. There's an answer. FAQ on the suppressive fire state. When making a strategic use with a command token to place a trooper in suppressive fire, how does this interact with marker states, nearby mines, etc.? The trooper has not declared an order and will not trigger any enemy deployments. However, any states, fire stream membership, etc., will be canceled by declaring suppressive order.
There you go. So you don't trigger anything, but it
doesn't matter.
The mask state then. There we go.
If you're suppressing, you're announcing who you are.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So reading the rule, but then the FAQ will override that.
So I think the solution, if you're running into dog problems with your Tunguska list, is put your bring a unit of Papanauticas and this guy, and the Papanauticas just line up with their little guns, and they will absorb that first wave of rifle shots, and then he'll kill them on the active turn.
And then just send the Sforza.
And then Sforza will go hunt them down. And you'll
lose
no orders.
Because otherwise you could just pretend to be 3 other Papanauticas.
Right. I mean, now the trick is pretend to be 3 puppet masters.
There you go.
And now it's like they know Sforza's there.
Now there's 4 puppet masters on the table.
But there's 4 hackers puppet masters.
That's right. Done. And done.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
That's the big brain thinking right there from Owen. Everybody be a puppet master.
Yeah, but see, that's like super. Just like to go back to my original argument, it was like you just have more models on the board, which makes it a shell game. And even though it announces that Source is there somewhere, it like they could potentially waste a couple of orders.
Yeah,
this also protects the puppet master, who is also a target.
Yeah, it's a double bonus there actually, because they're going to try and kill that guy to kill the Papanauticas without having to actually fight them. So having 4 of them on the table all of a sudden, when there's a dog on the loose coming after you, is actually a good idea. So if you're using Papanauticas, that's actually a really good point Owen's making, that you can use forces. They're ablative to each other, basically.
Yeah, because every order you spent killing a Papanautica is a wasted order. It's so brutal. They're
so brutal to try and kill. I don't think Dan's ever played against them.
Nope.
Well, it's because like everyone in this local area has said that they're not very good, and I'm like, you brought Max Harris every game we've ever played. Why would you not want just another one? That doesn't lose any orders.
That never dies. That can't fall apart. That just
it's 6 wounds for 36 points. Like
bonkers. It's real good.
Yeah.
Wait, they're 2 each?
Yeah, they all have a battle ravaged state.
They're all like 1 battle ravaged, and they all are dirt cheap for what they are. And I think they're remotes, so I think you can support wear them. I think
they are remotes, and they can be support weared. Get into the rules of how peripheral control works, which is like in subsection 4, of the peripheral rules.
Yeah.
So these guys have to be in coherence with each other all the time.
That's right. They're the ones that have to be near each other, basically. They have to be in like a fake fire team. They have their own weird.
They actually function more like a coordinated order again and again, where there's one guy who becomes the spearhead. It's something.
I don't know, man. They're whip 14. Whip 14.
And there's an FO one too.
I know, yeah, with a shotgun and a flash pulse that uses his whip 14, and they dodge on 13s because they have plus dodge. Oh, they're so stupid. I hate these things.
Yeah, because before it used to make them like a little Harris, but they don't get the Harris bonuses anymore. Instead,
they just get plus one burst.
They just get plus one burst. So when that little guy runs around with his
and the asshole medium has counterintelligence for 12 points.
Yeah. Yeah, these guys are, and yeah, you can marksmanship them.
Yeah, you can, because they're remotes. They're stupid.
So he shoots at BS-15 with his AP marksmanship rifle. And remember, he's only size 1, so like half the walls in the terrain boards we play on, he can just walk around with impunity.
Until he wants to fight you. And then he can't climb over the wall, so he has to go around like an asshole, but he's 6'4", so who cares?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay. So anyway, go buy Pupnautica. We've completely lost the thread of this guy's question.
There you go. How do you make Sforza work against dogs? Buy Puppet Masters.
Yeah, Sforza and Puppet Masters. Pour Puppet Masters on the table, and then everything will be great. Question 3. Howlrunner, for all of us. How do you deal with failing a deployment roll, especially when it forces you to deploy as a model instead of a marker? So as an assassin player, how should I play my Fide if I don't succeed the whip roll?
Why on earth would you ever roll the whip roll?
I wouldn't bother. Yeah, I would never.
I mean, I've done it
close enough,
but
you're so close to where you like the fact that you're just at the deployment line. You might as well be in the deployment zone. Like I don't see.
To clarify the rule for how this works, when they have that impersonation state, they're able to deploy anywhere so long as they're outside of the opponent's deployment. You can do a whip roll in order to land in your opponent's deployment, and so. There's a few missions with like the 16-inch deployment that you maybe make a case for that. Or when you bring 3, which I've done.
Then you don't care.
Then it's like 2 of them are going to be where I want. And if I get the other one, I win. If I don't.
Right. Yeah, I've got 2 back. I got 2 safeties, basically.
Yeah.
Yep, agreed. I don't know why you would. I mean, if I was making that roll, I think it's because I'd have a backup, like you just said. Like, I would have 3 Fides, and one would be the one that makes the test, and everybody else just goes home. Is it just a straight test, too? It's whip 15?
Yeah, there's no mod. It's just a whip 15 roll.
That's what I thought. Grandma just shows up. Yeah, it's real fun time. Because, like, what you might do is have, like, the 2 DA ones deploying the line, and then the mine.
It's Algel. Algel is the other one. They don't have a mine layer one. It's a shame.
They don't all have mines.
No, I just mean they don't have a mine layer.
Oh, right. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah. Because I used to do that with Shazvasti, where I would roll the dice to get my Speculo into your deployment and put a mine in your deployment before you deploy. Just be like, you go, loser. That building's mine.
Have fun staying outside this 16-inch circle.
Yo, you wanted me to deploy first? Oh, sweet. Well, you get the bad side with the 2 buildings, and that building has a mine and a Speculo killer in it off the bat.
That's right. Yeah, I've nested in this one. You probably don't want to come up here.
Yeah.
It's all with the psychological warfare. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, it's Chabelle. And then, because the other one's not even like a real assassin. What's his face? Not Al-Chabelle, the other guy.
Other guy.
Guy. The one who Yasbir.
Oh, Yasbir. Yeah, no, he's a little baby.
Yeah, he's a little guy. Just a little
he's an upjunt. He's actually more like a Farzan's than he is an assassin, which is funny.
Yeah.
I guess to expand it though, rather than the Fides and people with impersonation, guys with camo who have infiltrate, I usually don't roll it unless either they're like grunts who are dirt cheap, and if they fail their roll, it's like, he's just an order in the background.
The cost is not high because he's just a guy. He's going to go in your opponent's zone anyway. He now watches for the Raziat. That's his new job. He goes and sits in the back line, looks for parachutists.
The two that I think are the dicey ones are if you want to use the JSA Oniwabons or Kitsune.
Yeah.
Like if you use Shinobu. Because these are guys who both have a +3 to that roll after all the mods. And they're expensive. And if you screw up, they go from not being on the board to being on the board and revealed. Yeah. And they're very expensive and they're not fast enough to get back in. My only advice there, and like the same thing goes for like Uxia. Is it Uxia the one that deploys?
Uxia.
She can. I mean, anyone with infiltration can superior infiltrate the opponent's.
Well, she has the +6.
She has a bonus. Yeah. She has a bonus.
Yeah. Uxia has it at deployment +6. And like for those ones, I would make sure that whatever job you need them to do for your list, someone else can do it from your deployment. So like if your list is like light on having a sniper or something that can fight like a TR bot or a linked HMG or something like that, and you don't have a weapon that can fight it outside of its range from your deployment, you should consider bringing a missile launcher or a sniper so that you can get out of its range band to fight it at the beginning. If your infiltrating guy fucks up and doesn't land right inside them and killing them right off the bat.
Yeah, you have a backup to do the thing that you're requiring a dice roll to get to do. Like, and sometimes the payoff can be huge. So it's
because that way, if the dice roll works, great. You wasted a little bit on the missile or the sniper that's in the backfield, but hey, he's still a missile or a sniper.
He's still able to look 40 degrees overlooking, yeah.
But if he's your whole plan and he fails, then it's like, yee.
Well, to be fair, that's the first rule of Infinity is never have one plan do a job because they're gonna go sideways. Like that's if you have 12 plans during the course of the game, you know, half of them are gonna go sideways. You'd have a backup for them because you're gonna fail the dice roll or you're gonna lose the guy to an arrow or some piece you didn't see.
That's why you max AVA.
Why shouldn't I have 3 Sunduqbuts?
Why don't I bring 2 Yodas?
Why don't I bring 2? If the AVA says 3, why don't I have 3? Why don't I have 2 Yodas?
Yep. You need them.
I mean, anyone that doesn't need 2 Yodas, they're missing out, really.
Yeah, right. It's a fun list.
Dude, Imperial Army is the worst for max AVAs.
What do you mean?
Like, you could bring like 3 Moangs, or you can bring 4 of any heavy infantry. It's like the big expensive guys. You're like,
you can go deep if you want. Yeah,
do it.
I got 2 of a lot of them. No, I'm going ISS for now.
We'll do it with ISS.
Well, I mean, when your core 5 orders cost you what, a controller and 20 points, you can afford to take some big boys in that first list. If you can have 2 Shujans, have 2 Shujans.
I can buy a second one.
Motorcycle cop. Motorcycle rent-a-cop. Well, that's it. We are donezo. Because this was a catch-up show, because I now have my voice back, and we got our Dan, and we were just planning on doing the mailbag. And it's already 11:30. So good job, fellas. We did another one. I'm excited for next week when I will actually have my operations deck. Have you guys gotten your hands on those yet?
Wouldn't it be nice?
Oh, Jesus. Well, they're in Canada because they were orderable here. And I cleaned out Torchlight. So that means that there will be an operation deck somewhere in this conversation for the next episode's podcast. We can look through the operations thing, and I'm looking forward to playing the endurance missions, or whatever it's called, the procedurally generated one. That's my most excited I am to try a new Infinity game from this season is to use that deck. So it will be Resilience Operations. That's what it's called. Resilience Operations overview / download. As I'll hopefully be able to get a game in of Resilience Operations this weekend. So thanks for listening, and night, everybody.
Buenas noches.